Hinema tovu manayim shevet achim gan yachad. How goodly it is and how pleasant, it says in the Psalter, for brethren, for family, for people to dwell together. And here you are again, the family of Fountain Street Church, which includes you even if today is the first day you walked in, because this is a house of prayer for all people. And if you brought a creature that gives you delight and gives you calm and peace in your life and love, all the greater, for all the creatures are wonderful and blessed, especially today. And so we raise our voice in song. That could be in human song, or it could be in a bark or a meow or a chirp or a yap, because all God's critters got a place in the choir, as the song says, right? And we will sing together verses 1 through 3 of hymn number 203, All Creatures of the Earth and Sky. Let's join together, shall we?
Please join me in the responsive reading found in your bulletin. At the break of the morning, the dawn of a new day. When the light of the sun touches the horizon and the darkness lifts to make way. Surrounded by air sweet with spring, we take up breath within us to sing psalms of praise. At the zenith of the day, when greening life and warming skies abound. And in this song, our souls rise and pay homage. Good morning and welcome to Fountain Street Church. My name is Darla Alexander, and I signed the Book of Members in 1978. In that year, we were married in the chapel by Jack Bowers, and our children were dedicated by a very young Bruce Bodie. I came as a refugee from the Catholic Church, and I was a spiritually wounded soul. I came seeking to loosen the bonds of dogma and to find freedom and nurture in carving my own spiritual journey and to open my mind and my heart again. And I found an unparalleled community here. I heard sermons of ministers that cascaded between pure poetry interspersed with lightning bolts. And the choir took me heavenward. I was hooked. In the years following, I moved to 3 different states, but was able to keep in touch with the church. This was pre-internet days. Through a subscription service, for $12 a year, you'd receive a printed copy of the order of service and the sermon for that week. And they sustained me in my absence. And I always came back to my city and my church. So if you're new to the church or a visitor, we welcome you today and hope you too will find a home here, although your reasons and needs may differ from mine. Today is a special religious service and a favorite of mine. It's a reminder of our connection to all living creatures. The blessing of the animal is a long tradition, and the Animal Advocacy Expo came along 9 years ago when 2 church staff members had the idea to invite local animal welfare groups to the social hall. And that's who's here today. I've been helping organize this for those 9 years, and I've been involved as a volunteer in rescue for now probably 2 decades. I'm on the board of directors of Carol's Ferals and have many, many rescues of my own. The groups here today are pretty specially selected. They represent a cross-section of organizations, both large and small, of domestic and wildlife, but most share characteristics of operating hand-to-mouth financially to do the work they do. And almost all of them are exclusively volunteer-supported, in which case the executive directors don't even take salary. We've listed their missions here as an insert into your order of service so you can get just a brief idea of what their particular niche is in the rescue and welfare community. Now, by resolution of the Social Action Committee, today's collection plate will go to support these organizations. So please keep that in mind when you're making your offering today, because it'll make a big difference. As examples, $5 will provide flea protection and deworming for a little kitten, or $10 will pay for a distemper vaccine for a cat or dog. $20 could provide a life-saving microchip. $30 could feed ducks for a month in rehabilitation. $40 will get a spay or neuter performed. $50 would cover a veterinary exam. And anything beyond that could keep a small sanctuary warm for a month in winter or cool in the summer. So we're grateful for help that you can give today. We're also thrilled to have here Janet Vormatag, who's publisher of Cats and Dogs magazine, for a book signing. She's written her third book, and it's called You Might Be a Crazy Cat Lady. And if you don't know her, please stop by and say hello to her, because she's the publisher here of this magazine, which was conceived to bring together all the information about rescues, to and among rescues, so that we knew what others were doing, and so that the public knew too. Events, adoptions, you name it. We didn't have this kind of communication until Janet conceived of this magazine and made it real. It's free at newsstands monthly. So please say hello to Janet. And thank you for your support. The struggle is real.
I want to say just a few words before we go to the heart of the matter, which is to our ritual of gratitude. And I had one page all written out and was sitting right here, and I think Darla took it with her when she left. And so I have to remember, partly it was in German, because the phrase reverence for life is the English rendering of a phrase that Albert Schweitzer used, and he was German. And the word, as I remember, is Ehrfurcht von dem Leben, reverence for life. He went through a period of very deep despair about whether life was worth it at all. He had been a theologian and gave up on that when he couldn't find the truth. He was a musician, which gave him solace, but not necessarily clarity. He was a physician. Remember, this is one person: theologian, musician, and then physician. And then finally, he was a physician in the jungles of Africa, serving those who had no access to health care. And even then, he was searching for the meaning of life, hoping he would find it in a book, in a piece of music, in a textbook, in serving others, and he couldn't find it. In this respect, he's very similar to those mystics and deep souls that they call it the dark night of the soul. But he found hope. He was taking a trip up a river, working hard every day on the deck, writing and writing and tearing it up and writing and tearing it up. And then at one moment, it came in a flash what it was that held the world together for him spiritually, and philosophically, ethically. Ehrfurcht von dem Lebens. Reverence for life. And I want you to think about that, because this ceremony we do but once a year is a reminder that at the bottom of every religion, next to every person struggling to understand a word of life, to find something worth meaningful, that's meaning, is some sense of belonging to something greater, larger, and more encompassing than one's own self. Family, children, nation, religion, all of these are small. Being. Life. We all belong. That python you saw up here, you and I have some DNA in us that belongs to that python too. And to all the creatures you will see, and to all the microbes that you will not see. We are all related. And when we sit here every Sunday without any other creatures about, we deceive ourselves to think we are worshiping the truly meaningful. In the absence of the dogs, the cats, the snakes, the birds, the ants, the bird, all of those. In the absence of those, we are worshiping an idol, for we're worshiping only part of what matters. And so on this Sunday, we remind ourselves that we belong to something so large we cannot behold it in our minds, and yet we are deeply connected to it forever. We arise from it, we return to it, to the very soil that will bring forth new life. And so here in our Reverence for Life Sunday, as we pause to regard every creature as worthy of our respect and love, we should inwardly reverence every creature we see today, as our friends in India do, who say, Namaste. The divine in me reveres the divine in you. And so though we may hear a few yaps or barks or meows, if you might slip on something you didn't expect to find, let us remember it is all part of life. And you belong to it all, and it all belongs to you. And so it is worthy of a ritual. Indeed, a ritual, that we might honor all of that. And so I'm going to call upon our wonderful music director to give us music as we welcome those who present the elements that we revere and honor this day. All the peoples of the world have stories of how life came to be. Most of us are familiar with one that arose from the Jewish scriptures, and so we use that story to give rise to our gratitude and honor. We remember the ancient story from that book we call Genesis. In the beginning, in Hebrew it is Bereshit, at the very outset. At the beginning of creation, the earth was wild and waste. Darkness was over the face of the deep, and a rushing spirit, a wind, hovered over the deep. And the divine voice that speaks to everyone spoke on that moment in that story and said, Vayehi or, let there be light. And there was light. And the Creator voice saw all of this and declared, yeah, this is good.
We are grateful for the light, for all light, the great lights that keep the rhythm of our days and our nights, the light that shines within, upon, and between us all.
And the divine that speaks in every generation spoke then in that story and said, let the waters of the earth come together into one place, and let there be a dome above to hold the waters above the earth. And so it was that oceans were formed, and great lakes and skies.
We are grateful for the water, necessary for every living thing, and because of its necessity, a sacred right for all. We give thanks for the waters.
Then the divine that speaks in every age and spoke in that story looked upon the dry land that had been formed, and behold, it was soil from which all plants grow. And the divine voice called it earth and declared that it too was good.
We are grateful for soil in which all plants and trees are rooted and from which they rise up.
And then the divine voice that speaks in every generation spoke in that story, saying, let growing things come forth from the soil. Let there be plants with their own seeds. Let there be peas and beans and corn and cabbage. And so plants grew, each with its own seed. And the divine saw all of this and declared, this is good.
We are grateful for the growing things that are our food, those living things which we take within ourselves so that we might have life and life abundant. For this goodness, we are grateful.
And then the divine voice that speaks in every generation spoke in that story, saying, let there be flowers to brighten the earth. And so it was that colorful flowers came forth from the soil, yellow and gold, pink and purple, flowers to delight the eye and excite the nose and gladden the heart. And the Creator saw all of this and declared that this too is good.
We are grateful for flowers which brighten our days with the colors of the rainbow.
And then the divine voice that speaks in every generation spoke in that story and said, let trees be rooted in the soil. And so it was that trees of all kinds took root, trees with seeds and fruit to eat, trees of many kinds with woods named maple and mahogany, cedar and cypress, oak and aspen. And the creative voice, the divine that speaks in every generation, declared then, this is good.
We are grateful for the trees, the largest of living plants, for it is with them that we are able to take each breath and say, indeed, it is good.
And then the divine voice that speaks in every generation spoke in that story and said, let the waters bring forth living creatures of all kinds. And so it was that sea creatures came into being, from great whales to tiny minnows, every creature that lives in the waters. And the divine saw this and declared, this is good.
We are grateful for the creatures who inhabit the waters of the earth, who swim in the seas, who live in the lakes, who reside in the rivers.
And then the divine that speaks in every age and spoke in that story said, let birds fly in the heavens. And so it was that creatures with wings appeared, from great hawks to tiny hummingbirds, every kind of creature and insect that flies in the air.
We are grateful for the flying things, for indeed they take the seed which will become the growing things and move it from place to place and give us courage to try the skies.
And then the divine that speaks in every age spoke in that story and said, let the earth bring forth living creatures. And then the wild beasts appeared, and snakes that crawl on the ground, and insects and mice and rabbits, deer and dogs, cows and cats. All the animals that live on the earth. And this too was good.
We are grateful for the animals who are our closest kin.
Is that Simon's cat? And then the divine that speaks in every age spoke in that story and said, let us make creatures in our own image and likeness to watch over and protect everything that we have made. And so human beings were created in the image and likeness of the divine. They were made and saw too that this was worthy.
And we are indeed grateful for the gift that is human life, so that we might see in the tiniest among us that life which is gift to us one and all.
And the divine blessed all the creatures, but especially those we call human, for we have the ability to choose, to create, to destroy, and then charged the humans with the care of all things. And the divine that speaks in every age spoke in that story and saw all that had been created. And the creature saw all of this and declared that this is good. And let the people say, amen. There is a story in the literature of the Hasidic Jewish community. Those rabbis in the 18th and 19th century that became involved in their faith in a new and deeper way. And the story tells about the student who asked the rabbi why it was that in the story of creation, God says that everything God made was good except people. Look it up. And the rabbi said, well, this is what I have heard from my ancestor rabbis, that when humans were created, Adam and Eve went to God before the fall and asked, why is it you blessed all the other creatures as good but not us? And God said, because they are complete. They can only act as they have been given to act. They have no choices. They can make nothing better or worse. But you are incomplete. To you I have given the power to complete yourselves. And when you have done that, then I will call you good. The time of prayer and meditation is the time when we do a reckoning of our incompleteness. We stumble in, we parade in, we stagger in, we run into church, eager to share our blessings and eager to obtain forgiveness or perhaps at least solace. We arrive incomplete every week and try to leave with a clearer sense as to what we must do to approach completeness, knowing that completeness only arrives when we yield back the breath that we first took when we entered the world. And so our prayer today, as it is every day, is that we might find the courage, the wisdom, might find the nerve, the energy, the hope, the faith, the love, the joy to enter the world again. Compassed about as we are by these wonderful elements of creation, all the other things that have life or give life, our prayer is that we may love them as we love ourselves. Not just the animals we know in our homes, the ones that we love because they are charming, but yes, even the ants and the bees, the dandelions, the crabgrass, the raccoons that go through the trash, the things that we do not think of as our friends, may even call ugly, and yet we know that we are too part of their world and they are part of ours. And so we ask in this moment of prayer, followed by silence, that we may be open again to the wholeness of creation, to take it all in as the gift that we did not deserve and the one we honor by giving it back better than we found. Upon these things and all the other things that burden our hearts or lift our souls, we enter now into that prayer which is found most keenly in the presence of silence. And we end our silence by lifting up the names of those who gave up their life at this time in years past, whose gift of life made this church more complete and our world a better world. We remember Doris Griffith and Blanche Mullen, Liz Cook, Elizabeth Jones, Merrill Grogel, Fran Dilley, Gordon Boozer, Hugh Allen, John Steckety, Sally Potts, Robert Nichols, and Noah Herrig. Thou who art filled with mercy, dwelling in the heavens' heights, bring proper rest beneath the wings of your Shekinah, your presence, to those souls of our beloved who have gone to their eternal rest. May you, who are the source of mercy, shelter them between the wings of your mercy eternally, and may you bind their souls to you and to us the living, that they may rest in peace, that we may be at peace, and let us say, Amen. Here's the deal, people. We're going to sing some more. And then as you sing, if you want to have an animal blessed by one of my two colleagues here, go to the outside aisle and kind of come in this way so you can wait in line. I know that's sometimes troubling, but it means if you're down in front here. So, James, Taylor, what are you going to do? You're going to get up and come down this way? No, you're going to go back up and around. And got it? Okay. Chip, John. What's that? What's your dog's name? John too? Chuck, whatever. Take your wonderful creature, go up, down, and around. Don't come, I know it's closer, but this is priority boarding down here, okay? And you don't have enough points. Okay. Go up, down, around, and down. If you're on the outside, you chose well, you can move right to the outside. All right, everybody, we're going to sing a few more verses of this wonderful song that's attributed to St. Francis, the saint of the birds and all the other animals. And then we'll begin blessing the animals. And please stay if you want to listen to the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful music. If you love animals and if you need to leave at some point, go on over to the Animal Expo. Stick around. It's a full day here at Fountain Street Church. You don't want to miss any of it. So, Ms. Marilyn, if you could rouse us with our final hymn as we sing verses 4 and 5. And we bless each and every one of you for being here today as we bless you and your creatures. Shall we sing?
Thank you.